Thinking about moving to St. Mary's County in 2025, whether it's PCS into Pax River or you're just moving here for a new job, let's break down whether it's better to rent or buy. Hey, my name is Rob Schou. I'm a realtor down here in Southern Maryland with EXP Realty, and the whole goal of this channel is to help make your move to Southern Maryland so much easier. So if you have any questions or need any help, use the contact information below, call me, text me, and I'll be happy to help any way that I possibly can. So let's go and jump into it to decide whether or not it's better for you to rent or buy. The first thing we have to look at is actually the housing market right now for rentals and for buyers as well. Now, looking at Zillow, here are all the different houses for sale in all of St. Mary's County. You can see there's actually a fair amount, and the average price right now is right around $400,000. Now, when I switch this to rental, you're going to see that there's a big difference between the amount of homes that are for sale and the amount of homes that are for rent. And you can see right here, the availability of rental really goes down, and a lot of them are centered around this California Lexington Park area of St. Mary's County. There are a few out here scattered towards Leonardtown or even to Compton or even north of Mechanicsville and a few in Hollywood, but a majority of the rentals are going to be around here. So with that said, if you're looking for a specific area, you might want to start looking at buying first compared to renting, because there might not be, that availability that you need. Also, rentals average around $2,200 a month, but for a true single family home in some of the more desirable areas that I hear people wanting to move to, which is like Leonardtown, you're looking at least $2,500 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Now, using that median value of a home for sale in St. Mary's County of about $400,000, we can apply the mortgage rate, which is on average right now about 6.98%. It can be lower if you have a VA or FHA loan, but this is about the average. And we'll put an average percentage down payment of 5% down, because that's what I'm seeing most people putting down. And that gives you a loan amount of $380,000. Now, there's different fees that are in here. Home insurance is about $1,500 a month. Property tax, that's about right, $3,000 a year, and a few other things as well. And we're going to go ahead and click calculate. Now, at that price, your monthly payment would be about $3,056 a month, which is more than you would be probably spending to rent a house of that same kind of caliber in St. Mary's County. And that payment is definitely higher than why I said an average rental would be. But the problem with finding a rental in the area, like I said before, is availability in areas that people want to be. So looking at this payment, you can see, like I said, here's the total amount that it would be. PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, would be on there for 129 payments. So after 129 payments, you'd be able to remove that, and that's how much the payment would be after that. Now, that PMI could be completely removed if you did 20% instead of 5% down. And there's some programs like USDA that have no PMI whatsoever. Now, just based on payment alone, you'd be correct in thinking that renting is probably better. You're going to be less out of pocket each month than you would if you're going to be buying, and the headache of home ownership probably would be on your landlord. But there are some benefits to owning your home, and there definitely are some cons to renting out a home instead of owning it. One of the biggest pro is you're building equity in the house instead of paying rent. Every single month that you're living there, you're paying down your principal amount. That's building some equity. And also you can do capital improvements, add a bathroom, kind of update it, kind of stuff like that, to add even more value to the home. Number two is your monthly payment, the actual, principal and interest that you're paying is locked in. Once you sign up for a 30-year mortgage, your principal and interest is going to be the same throughout the life of that mortgage. But what can change though is your home insurance or your taxes as well. So you might see some fluctuation in that amount that you owe every single month to the mortgage company. But for the most part, it's going to stay pretty stable throughout the time that you own the home. And also, if you're buying and you're a VA buyer, you can get a 0% or 0 down loan, and you may even be able to roll in some of the cost of getting that loan into the loan itself to make it so you come out of pocket really minimal amounts when you go to close for this home. And of course, there are some potential tax deductions, but I'm not a tax expert, so that would be something better to ask your tax professional, or do some research on sites like H&R Block or TurboTax as well. Now, there are definitely some cons to buying too, especially right now. Mortgage rates are high, and it means that more homes are not affordable for buyers out there. We're kind of in this weird spot where the homes that are affordable for a lot of people PCS into the area are in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, and there's not a ton of them out there right now that are in move-in ready condition. That being said though, it can still be a great opportunity for you to force some equity and fix up that home, even at these higher mortgage rates. Number two, it's going to require upfront costs if you buy a home. It's more than just that security deposit you would do with a rental. You're probably going to have to pay some closing costs, and those can mount up to about 4% of the purchase price. So on a $400,000 home, you're looking at $16,000 in closing costs. Number three is, I've seen this a few times, if you're PCSing to the area and they change your orders earlier than expected, you can really sell sooner than you would want to, and that can lead to a place where maybe you don't have enough equity in the home to be able to buy the next one, or even come out positive when you sell the home as well. So that can be a big concern for some as well, especially those that don't know if they're going to be staying in the area for long term. Now, renting has its pros and cons as well, and the biggest pro of renting is the flexibility. You're only really there for a year, and after that you can kind of go to wherever you want or renew the lease. Number two, like I said, one of the cons of buying a house is high upfront costs. Relatively speaking, renting has lower upfront costs. Normally what you're going to actually have to put up front is like a first month's rent and the security deposit, which in Maryland, I believe, can only be equal to the first month's rent. So at the most on a $2,500 rental, you're going to be out $5,000 to start with. And that $2,500 security deposit, you should be able to get back at the end of your lease, depending on how you treat the house and kind of stuff like that. And the third thing is, with rentals, a lot of the times the maintenance costs for the most part are covered by the landlord. Now, I'm going to say that with a caveat because you want to make sure you read over your lease agreement, because some lease agreements say that you're going to be responsible, you, the tenant, will be responsible for the first $100, and then the landlord will kick in after that. And even further, some say that the landlord is not responsible for items like an oven, a refrigerator, those kind of things, and you would be responsible for replacing those in the house. So make sure you read the lease agreement, because it's not true that all maintenance is covered when you're a renter. And here are 3 cons to renting. Number one, rent can rise. We don't have rent control in St. Mary's County, so really the landlord can actually raise the rent as much as they want year to year. They have to honor the lease they have, but they can decide to raise the rent the following year, and you're going to be either stuck paying that or looking for a new house. Number two is no equity and no ownership benefits. You're not gaining any equity while you're renting a house, and there's no tax benefits, and all that is really being realized by the landlord instead of you. And number three, and I think this is the biggest con, there's just a limited amount, especially single family homes that are near, Pax River, or even in other areas that people are looking, like Leonardtown, Hollywood, Mechanicsville, and that just makes it really hard to find a good rental for someone who's PCSing and moving here, who wants a single family home. So in my opinion, with all that being said, I think it kind of comes down to 2 things. If you're staying here for 3+ years, I really do think it maths out that you should buy. You'll be able to build up some equity in the home. You'll be able to pay down some of the home as well. And you'll be able to kind of have roots in the area. If you're only looking to stay for a year or two, I definitely think renting is better. Find an area that maybe is a compromise of close enough to where you want to be, but has availability for rentals, and you'll be fine for that 1 or 2 years that you're here. Now look, I really appreciate you watching this video, and if you need help deciding which one's best for you, use that contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help any way that I possibly can. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.